So some of you know that the last week was what we call Sweeps Week because we kept getting in amazing pieces here on the Xtreme channel. I'm actually going to call this Spider-Man Week. Check out why. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Xtreme channel. My name is Mr. X. We have another Xtreme collectible, one of my favorite characters, if you can't tell behind me, Venom, another custom Venom statue. As I said in the intro, this is kind of Spider-Man week. So if you missed the last few days, first we aired this piece right here. It is a custom black symbiote vs. Shocker piece. And then yesterday was this custom green goblin piece, which coincidentally is made by the same group that did this. What are customs? Customs are private unlicensed commissions. They only made 50 of these. They're sold out. I can't help you get any. And for the next few days, you're going to see more custom Spider-Man pieces. Not only is this piece from that same group that did the Green Goblin, but I actually have another Venom piece from them. Check this out right here. So this piece is a highly sought after grail. You might even be able to see it behind me. And then I have a custom Venom vs. Hulk from them. This piece that I've reviewed right here. And why stop there, right, Mr. X? I have another custom Venom on order from them. But I just got this piece in. This is called Venom Nightmare. And it's really interesting. And I mean that in a good sense. So today we're going to dive into the review. The assembly is going to be a little bit different because I tried to do the assembly on camera. It's a very simple assembly, but it was just a picture of my crotch the whole time. However, if you are part of the membership of the Xtreme channel, I will show that to you. So check out what that's about by hitting that join button below. Now again, I got this piece because it was incredibly unique. As you see, he's actually affixed to the wall. He is reaching out. I think he'll actually pair really well with Sideshow's Comiquette, this piece right here. So if you're interested in what that looks like, make sure you check out the Xtreme channel Facebook page. I put the link in the description, but I post specific pictures just on there that you don't see on YouTube. I also kind of want to put him as a centerpiece because of the nameplate at the bottom, which we'll talk more about. So I'll post pictures of what he looks like in the collection. So make sure you not only follow that, but you like that as well. But enough of that, let's just dive into this piece, and it's amazing. So first, I want to talk about the concept, which is where this piece really shines. It's Venom on a wall, which I don't think has been done before, and he looks fantastic. They've incorporated a lot of different things, so let's check it out. At the bottom, obviously, you have a concrete base. It has to be affixed to something. It just can't be a floating wall. And I'm not a nameplate guy, but I like this. And the reason I think I like it is because of the symbiote aspect coming out of the back. It's pretty cool. This is why I want it to be a centerpiece in my collection. So it has your traditional Venom colors. It has the Venom whites like you have in his symbol and his eyes. And as you move up, you have a brick broken wall. And on this wall, you have Venom. He doesn't have clearly defined feet because the symbiote is actually merging and holding him onto that wall. And depending on which switch out you use, which we'll talk about in design, he is actually reaching out. He has 3 different portraits. His right hand is affixed to the wall. One of the switch outs, both hands are affixed to the wall. And you can somewhat make out part of his right hand. It is excellent. I think what they did here is incredibly unique. It really has a display presence. And I mean, just look at it. This is pretty amazing. With concept, do they pay homage to the character? Yes, they did. Incorporated Venom using his symbiote suit. He's big, he's massive, he's nasty. Did they do something cool, an original idea? Absolutely they did. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this before. So I think that's why I jumped on this initially, and that's why I'm sticking with my rating of a 5 out of 5 on the concept for this piece, because there's also even some Easter eggs you see on the back wall here. Pretty neat. Now we're going to talk about design, and this is where, let's get the dimensions first. So the widest point, and this will depend where I put it, is about 18.5 inches. Then the highest point is right at 23 or so. I just noticed a big chip on the back of the wall. I'll show you that during paint and sculpt. It's not a big deal. And then the deepest point, if you have this display option, is probably about 19 inches maybe. Now let's look at the display options here. So first of all, he has 3 different portraits that you can display with either torso. Let's look at those. First one is one I have. It's kind of your classic Venom. They are all Venom with pointy teeth and his tongue and his mouth outreached. This one, his mouth's very, very widely open. The next one, very similar. His mouth is slightly more closed. I don't think I'm a fan of this one. It almost looks a little bit too small.
That's what she said.
And then you have one that's more like their bug eater piece they made with the really weird teeth. Again, I like this one a lot, but I think it's a little bit smaller. I like the wider open mouth, so I think I'm going to stick with the original one. Now, as you see here, you can display him where he is reaching out. Now, here's a picture of that. Not only is he reaching out, but there's a piece of wall behind him that you actually have to insert. And so this is where I'm not going to show you the assembly because it's pretty simple. It's the base, the wall is another part, and then Venom's right arm and right leg, or both legs I guess, are permanently affixed to the wall. However, what you can do is remove this piece. And then this wall plate right here is actually removable. Here's a picture of the seam line on it. It's okay, it's not the best, I've seen worse. And then here is the other torso. And the arm is actually a separate piece, but it's easier to put it in if it is already affixed to that. And here is the other option. So let me show you some of these other seam lines. They are not bad, they're not great. And then of course, all Venom heads. This one right here, the seam line I'm not a fan of, specifically because the portrait doesn't really flow with the statue. Maybe that's one of the reasons I don't like it. Now granted, when you're looking at it from head on, it's not really a big deal. He feels very secure on the wall though. I have no issues or worries about that, so I appreciate that. You know, here's a close-up of that little damage spot. The fact that they put this Venom piece on the back, kind of a cool Easter egg, I do like that. So design, very ambitious. I give them a lot of props for that, but the seam lines, like I said, do show quite a bit, especially with the head. And for that reason, I think the design's a 3 out of 5 on this piece. Now granted, I don't know if it could have been done better, but I have to recognize some of those opportunities that they had. Now we'll dive into paint and sculpt on this guy, and kind of my initial thoughts are there's some things that are good and some things that are bad. Kind of the usual thoughts, but let's take a look. All right, so let's start down here at the base. The concrete looks fine. There's some good texture in it. The shading's decent. They even have some overlap of some of the bricks, so some of that brown right there, which is smart. And here is the Venom symbol. This is incredible. I like, it almost looks like veins on the inside where the white is, and it's a subtle fade to different colors of black and blue. Pretty impressive actually. And then all kind of the tendrils on the back. Then let's look at the wall. Here, this has kind of this plastic coat feeling effect where it doesn't look like real brick. I think that was definitely a missed opportunity. And I think it's a mix between both the paint and the sculpt that's kind of the miss there. This black Venom symbol in the back is awesome. Too bad it'll never be seen. So Venom himself, they did a real strong mix of blue in this, and typically with Venoms, you always want to see a little bit of blue, whether it's a subtle hint or like this, which is almost overpowering. It's not as blue as one of my other custom statues I've reviewed, but I like how the blue kind of flows in this and kind of off the glossy black. I love how this almost looks like muscle tendons, these tendrils from the symbiote, and even on him. His logo is protruding. His eyes are indented actually though, and they have that blue coloring right around the outside of them. And that's on all of them. The eyes are pretty similar, but I do like Venom quite a bit more. His nails are actually part of him. Have some of both the blue and black. Really interesting take. Now here's kind of the portrait, the bug eater portrait, what I call. See how it kind of flows differently? Almost looks like it's a different texture. That's what I'm not a fan of. The inside of the mouth is okay. It's a little too bubblegum for my flavor. And then this portrait right here, also I think almost is a little underscaled for him. Same comments about the mouth. The teeth are, I would have rather seen, I think, one of these where the teeth are all over the place, almost Jaws-like teeth. So I think that was a little bit of a miss. Right here where, I never know what to call this part in Venom, but kind of his gums are moving in and out. Same thing with his tongue. There's some cool glistening moist effect on there. A lot of detail in it. And that can be said about the very large tongue as well. So this is very similar to that other portrait, but I do like it better because the mouth is open bigger and it gives the illusion that it fits the body quite a bit better. The lighting in here isn't very good. I do apologize for that, but it does have kind of a glistening effect under the right lighting. I am setting up lighting for all my shelves, so we'll do a room tour of that sometime in the next month or two here in the office. And actually where he's going, there is a light installed. So really, kind of a summary. The bottom of the base is okay. The brick wall, a little toyish looking. I think it's part of the paint and the sculpt. The Venom symbol on the front here is awesome. Venom is good. I like the mix of blues. Sometimes it's almost too much, but I think they did it well here. And the portraits are all right. I think this is really the only portrait I'm gonna display. I'll probably put the other two back in the box. But I like both display options with both torsos. So we'll probably keep those out. So paint, again, I think a lot of opportunity on the wall for the paint and the sculpt. However, you're initially drawn to Venom. I think what they did with the symbiote suit is pretty neat. I like, sometimes I like less blue, sometimes I like more blue, where the blue on this, I kind of like the more blue. The paint, I think the paint app is probably a 3 out of 5 on this piece. I've seen better, but it is definitely very good. I think the wall is kind of what brings it down. And I think the same thing with the sculpt. The Venom is very cool looking. This is more of a piece that's all about the concept. You know, where the Green Goblin, I really like the paint and sculpt. Here, it's just good. And I think the same thing with the sculpt. It's a 3 out of 5 on this piece. Let's talk about value on this guy. Believe it or not, only $850, which is pretty good for an edition size of 50. Shipping, I think, was $300, which isn't horrible, especially with what's going on with these times. So you're about $1,100 all in for a statue that's almost the size of some 1/3 scale characters. I think that's a really great value, actually, and I think because of the uniqueness of this, like I said, this is kind of a very cool centerpiece for a Venom collection. I think the value actually is a 4 out of 5, believe it or not. You know, shipped quarter scale statue for $1,100, $1,200 nowadays. That's completely not out of the ballpark. Some license companies are charging more than that. Does this have the X factor? So I think when something's paint and sculpt kind of fall in that 3 category where it's very good, it's not amazing, it can't have the X factor, and I think that's the case here. But I do think this is an incredible statue. I think the concept alone, the fact that, like I said, this is going to be a centerpiece. I know where I want to put him. I just hope he'll fit.
Hey, that's what she said.
I think this is a 4 out of 5 statue. It's not a grail, but I think it's a rail, which is a statue people would really want, but not quite a grail. I'm impressed by it. I like it a lot. Glad I got it. I jumped on board because they seem to do very well with Venom in this group. But today's comment I want you to throw down, is he a top 5 Venom statue, at least of the ones that I've done? You can actually check those out in one of the playlists right here. And if you want to see more Venoms, tomorrow is another Venom. So make sure to hit that Mr. X logo, hit the bell notification so you've subscribed. And check out the Facebook page as well if you want to see what he looks like in the collection. Thanks so much. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.